Okay, sir, you're good to go.
Okay, I apologize for that. That 5-minute break turned into an 11 or 12-minute break. Technology is fantastic. Where were we? Did the applicant want to? I believe the applicant wanted to speak next.
Not a public speaker. I'm here with Robert, and represented Robert in this subdivision. And the reason this subdivision is occurring, because they moved Robert from eminent domain. His house was in the middle of Highway 25. They moved him to a larger piece of the Rigetti property, which is the 32 acres. He has no plans of having neighbors, developing anything, and it would be a hardship to him to put in road, curb, gutter, whatever on his property. He's not moving, he's not changing. And this is part of, I've read the wills, I've been a family friend for 40 plus years. We're dealing with Paul on estate planning, and Robert's required by the estate to get his house separated from the farmland for the future estate, which would be the grandkids or whatever. And there are no plans of development, so anything is a hardship to him at this point. The county and state already moved him once, and that's where he ended up. And then now, because Alan has passed away a year ago, Linda passed away a few months back, he's forced into this subdivision according to the plans. Any conditions that require him to do road improvements or whatever such are really, I mean, they're not necessary in our opinion, and they're part of the requirement that you are asking for, and it will be a hardship on him because he's not doing anything but following the estate plan, which he has to do.
Okay.
That's it for me.
Thank you. Did we already do public comment? Okay. Then we'll go to public comment, please.
Perfect. Elia, you have been unmuted. You will have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Did I lose you guys, or am I
No,
still
we're
on?
here.
Sorry. Okay. Excuse me. So I understand from the speaker saying that they're only following the instructions of the trust, whatever. And my question is, this is just the beginning. Something eventually is going to happen. Do they intend to have the property sold? Or is there an intent to sell the property? Are you trying to get it entitled and then sell the property? Is the property potentially going to be, is there any future about getting the property annexed into the city? I realize that there's already Sunny Slope water that is in the area. And also when you say, there has to be some plan. You just can't just, trying to subdivide it, in my opinion. Rural housing, I know that it falls under, is there an intent to keep it in the county if you're not going to annex? And if so, do you intend to do farm worker housing on the property? Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional public comment?
There is no more public comment in chambers or via Zoom.
Okay. We have a representative from the applicant that wishes to speak.
I just wanted to respond to some of the comments that I made, or the questions she asked. And I think Jonathan can confirm, this subdivision doesn't carry any additional entitlements with it. It does not obligate the farm property to further subdivision. There's no immediate intent to sell it. Obviously, that always exists as an opportunity, but if this ever were to be developed, the county will have the opportunity again to require road improvements at that time. But the intent right now, as mentioned, was just to separate the house from the farmland.
Thank you. Back to the commission. Are there any comments, questions, concerns? Commissioner Scagliotti?
One question, and it's is there already curb and gutter in front of Alan's house? I think there is. I mean Robert's house. There is no curb and gutter in front of your house? Okay.
Jonathan, could you respond on the microphone with that, please?
There's no curb and gutter, just the just a light kind of guiding for the drainage to the drain in front of the house.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Toledo?
How many years has the applicant owned the property?
Yeah, 80 plus for sure.
Thank you.
Commissioner Way?
Yeah, I understand the objection to item 29 and the conditions. I wonder about item 32 as well, about the undergrounding of utilities. Is there an issue with that?
The utilities have already been underground as part of the city subdivisions across the street.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions, Commissioner Way?
No.
Commissioner Ringhayden? Any comments or questions?
No.
Okay. I would not be opposed to changing the verbiage of 29 based upon either a building permit being issued or further subdivision, but I would want it to be the full width at that point.
For the full width, the 42-foot right-of-way on the other side is already dedicated to the city of Hollister, so that would not be, could possibly be a takings. And I think Sean could probably comment on that.
That's correct. Since the county doesn't own the property, to do something with it would constitute potentially a taking
Then could we add sidewalk, curb, and gutter?
to the property owned by the county, sure, or
Mhm.
or the applicant. Yeah.
If there's further subdivision, it would make sense. Planning commissioners, any thoughts? What we want to do with 29?
I say we put the deferral on it, and then if anything happens prior, before they subdivide it, they gotta do all that.
So
Now
before,
we gotta, just like we've been doing.
before,
gotta
before any
connect
other subdivision or building permit being issued, we require the improvements? And that includes sidewalk, curb, and gutter, or just the road?
Sidewalk, curb, and gutter. Everything.
Is that acceptable to the applicant?
Deferred.
Deferred, but we'll add sidewalk, curb, and gutter at a later date. Okay.
And then the stormwater pollution prevention, put that on there too, that they have to retain 500-year floodwater, the retention pond on the same deferral when they go to subdivide it.
Yeah, when the subdivision occurs. Yeah. So is everyone, that'll work? The language regarding the deferred improvements? Okay. Is there a motion to that effect on the table?
And I just wanted to be
Whoop.
clear, you want it prior to subdivision or pulling of building permits?
Either.
I-
Is there a motion on the floor to that effect? Anyone?
I will make a motion with the changes we just asked to move forward.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 5-0. Thank you all. Next item. 7.3. We're gonna adopt a resolution that recommends the board amend several ordinances.
Hi, good evening, Chair, fellow commissioners, and members of the public. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. We do have a few code section changes, and if you bring up the screen, perfect, and we'll just zoom in a little bit so it's a little easier for those in the audience to see. So under Title 2502, Permits and Other Planning Actions, the main changes, this came through board direction a few months ago, and it for our under our temporary use regulations, that we include not just food trucks but all mobile vendors to adhere to the temporary use requirements code. So that was included into this, and I'm sorry we keep having pop-ups. And so that's just throughout. B, and then we did add in there under B2, mobile vendors or food trucks shall comply with San Benito Title 5.03 county taxes, just really pulling it out there. It's in our code, but just making it all in one place so those viewing can see it. We also included 3 mobile vendors or food trucks shall post their required vendor permits and business license on the outside of their truck, cart, or stand. This was direction that came from the board. We also included language under 4, mobile vendors or food trucks and any associated improvements or accessories, such as picnic tables, seating, shall not occupy parking, which is required to meet the needs of permanent uses on the parcel, and shall not block vehicle circulation, emergency access, or public right-of-way. There was direction to make sure that public right-of-way was not being blocked. Go ahead.
Just one quick question. Under 4, vendor permits, does that mean the health permits, and if they're selling items that are subject to sales tax, that they also have that permit?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Under 6, we added mobile vendors or food trucks out of compliance with these standards will be subject to Title I general provisions for enforcement. So just a reminder that if you're not complying with our code, you will be in violation, and you will go through a process of violation. There could be there's fees and fines associated, and so just a reminder to all to please follow rules. Thank you. And then we just continued with adding mobile vendors all throughout, instead of just specifying food trucks. Go
Ariel,
ahead.
the numbers skipped up there, 7 and 8.
Oh, perfect. We will make sure to correct.
Thank you. It's easier to read on a big screen.
And that concludes all changes in 25.02. Before I move on to the rest, was there anything else for this?
Any questions or comments from the commission before we go to the next item?
No.
Yes,
Commissioner Way?
sorry. I'm just wondering procedurally how we're going to, are we going to consider this as a whole, or are we going to vote on each of the, for instance, what we just discussed, and then the mineral resource, and then
It's a package.
the camp?
It's one resolution.
Okay, all right, thanks.
So changes presented under Title 25.08, standards for specific uses and areas. So the first change was under Section 25.08.025 Mineral Resources Area and Development Regulations. So last year we updated our Title 19 Mineral Resources and created standards and requirements if mineral resources were designated. That was done after code updates. The 40-acre minimum lot size was a carryover from old code in consultation with an attorney who specializes and worked on our code updates for Title 19. Reviewed this. It's not, minimum lot size is not required under other jurisdictions. There's other specific requirements which we had already adopted that adhere to the state SMARA requirements. So staff is removing this particular requirement as we were not sure exactly why it was implemented, and it was just a carryover from previous code updates when we updated in 2022. And then we just brought them back to that they have to, under Section F, mining and natural resources, for regulations related to mining and natural resources, see Chapter 19.13, surface mining operations and reclamation within Benito Municipal Code. So, then, 2508031 low impact camping. We had a discussion at our April meeting, and this reflects the discussion that we had. As I go through, there are a couple items I'm going to kind of bring up to consider revising out of here. So first, under location and acreage requirements, we, in our discussion in April, we had 5 acre minimum for 1 campsite, 10 acre minimum for 2 campsites, 11 or more would be 3 to 9. I am going to suggest that we update C to actually read 11 acre minimum and above up to 9 campsites. I'm also going to suggest, because there has been interest from the community for those with less than 5 acres, so a designation such as rural residential, which can have a secondary use of agricultural uses. There has been some interest, so considering the Plan Commission to consider tonight changing A to read 1 acre minimum for 1 campsite, but adhering to the rest. So something to consider, and we can continue on. If we did make that change, then we could include in the sites permitted, we would also include RR designation, which has a 1 acre minimum. And then going on, we had discussed no more than 6 campers. My apologies.